Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk News. I'm your host, Leticia Remauro, coming from steamy South Carolina, where I was just sitting outside for like a half an hour. My hair is all frizzy and blah. But if you landed here intentionally, I appreciate your being here. If you landed here by accident, hang on, stay a while. Maybe there's something that we will be discussing that will interest you. Just type your comments on your keyboard and let's talk news. We're going to talk about cringe worthy politicians. I mean, it's been an interesting news cycle today. Um, you know, the Save America Act is so important to Americans. They are, 90% of Americans think that there should be voter ID. Yet the Democrats are refusing to even consider it, and they're blocking it at every turn. We have a couple of clips here of Democrats who said some things that make you go, ooh. And I can tell you something. I know about Cringe Worthy because I once spewed a word salad that landed me on every newspaper in America, and not in a good way. Hello, Kevin Wall from the other side of the world, but the same side of the issues. Hello, Karen. Good to have you. Hi, Kevin James. I'm sorry, Kevin Young. Good to have you. You think I would get this straight. I know that Facebook put you backwards, but it's confusing the hell out of me, Kevin. Hi, Francine. How are you? And let me ask you something. Is it steamy hot where you are? I mean, I know that it was up in New York. It was in the hundreds. And then it cooled off a little bit, and then it came down here to South Carolina. And then it went to Florida. My grandson said yesterday it was terrible. We cooled off for a couple of days because we got rain. And then today it was that worst mix of hot, wet air all day long. And I had some pretty big projects that I was doing outside today. And I think I might have lost about 5 pounds and, sweating. So I don't know. Kevin says it is hot by him. Are you in New York, Kevin? I can't remember. New York and New Jersey. It really is kind of crazy weather. Great for my vegetables, though. I've been pulling in tomatoes like nobody's business. Is really nice. 96 in Michigan, Karen says. Holy crap. Maybe there is global warming, climate change. No, maybe it's just summer. Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is usually, when I think of Pennsylvania, I think of cool breezes because there's so many trees where I go in Pennsylvania. So I never ever think of it as hot there, up in the hideout and along the, oh Lord, I forgot it, the big lake that starts with a W, Indian name. Okay, so I wanted to show you this because I think it's really, really important. Facebook co-founder Dustin Moskowitz bankrolled $480 million activist crusade that's made your bacon and eggs pricier. So what's this all about? It's about the billionaires, who are, by the way, Democrats, trying to control the price of the things that they don't want you to have. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. Hold on. Francine says 99 in Staten Island, 98 in Pennsylvania. And here's Andrew Dorman. Good to have you. So hold on a second. I did have this up, but then I lost it. So here's the thing. Hold on. This Facebook founder who's got awful lot of money has been giving money to not-for-profit organizations that are trying to stop or change the way people farm animals for food. And it's working in California and some other states. In other words, these groups are going out and they are claiming that the farmers are caging animals in a cruel and inhumane way, and that they're the animals' lives before they're slaughtered for eating is terrible. And they're claiming this about veal, about pork, and about chickens, both roasting chickens and chickens who lay. And this crusade that they're on has wound up creating a law in California where if you want to sell your eggs, veal, pork, or chicken to Californians, you have to adopt certain practices. And it doesn't matter where you're from in America, not necessarily if it comes from out of country, but in America. You have to adopt certain practices, like chickens need to be free range, and cages need to be a certain size, and all kinds of different things. And they're mandating vaccinations for these animals. So it's driving the price of these goods up. And California is the largest consumer market in America. And so now in order to sell your eggs and veal and pork and chicken to Californians, you have to follow this rule. Okay? Not only farmers in California, but others. The interesting thing is that the guy who's given all the money, he is heavily invested in Impossible meat. That fake plant-based meat. Yeah. So the DOJ found the connection. You're not hearing about it on the news, but you really should. And this is why eggs were skyrocketing. This is why the price of all these commodities are going up. Very, very, very scary. But and they're heavy Democrat donors. So they're giving to these not-for-profits, and these not-for-profits, you need to read it. Read it in the New York Post. It's a story worth reading. Lucille said it's hot, and the professor says hello. But read about it, because this is what the socialist conglomerate is looking to do. They're looking to take away your choices. They're looking to take away your housing, your ownership of land. They're looking to take away your money that you earn. They're looking to take away your guns, your freedom. And now they're looking to control what you eat. And the agenda came out. We talked about it yesterday, right? That they want to abolish the presidency and the Senate. Some of them have said that every American president has been evil, because the practice of our constitutional republic is evil, and that the only non-evil form of government is a true democracy. Clearly, they don't understand history. They know nothing about it. They want the Gates fake meat. Yes, exactly. So this dude is in with Bill Gates, and they're giving money to these not-for-profits, who are then going out and changing, or are doing a PR campaign, a negative campaign, not against any farmer that breeds and raises animals for food. Because at the end of the day, they want us all eating plants. Which, is kind of interesting, because if everybody becomes a vegetarian, then they can grow their own food. They don't need to buy anything unless they live in a big city, right? If you have a little plot of land, you can feed yourself. I don't think they're thinking this all the way through. But anyway, I didn't want to make the whole show about that, but I do want you all to kind of look into that. It is the California law that just passed, and it is just put Google Facebook. Facebook founder is raising the price of eggs, and you will find it. Hello, Antoinette. I'm glad you love our show. Thank you, and you're part of the show now. So as long as you're here, you're part of the show. Okay, so let's get to our cringe stuff. I want to, part of this we've heard before, but I'm using this clip to promote a clip that just recently happened yesterday in a hearing of doctors talking about how men can get pregnant. Watch.
Of course, the vast majority of pregnancies are in women, and I have absolutely no problem with using the word pregnant women. I use it myself.
Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
A transgender person can.
That's not a biological woman. Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
I would reiterate, we
it's
take
ridiculous.
Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding.
Yes and no questions are a political tool. We've lost our minds. I mean, these are doctors. These are doctors. I never, ever was one to believe in conspiracy theories because I always said that once more than one person knows, your cover will get blown. But now I know that there has been a conspiracy going on in America to dumb us down and to dismantle us. And now even the medical association is involved in it, and COVID proved it. It showed it because I had perfectly sane doctors talking about how we should shove this untested shot into the arms of perfectly healthy young people. I'm not talking about old people or at-risk people. I mean, perfectly healthy young people. And then later on, we found out that young kids were having heart attacks and strokes, and they wouldn't allow us to talk about it. Crazy. Now, all of a sudden, we have to talk, men can have babies. What? No. Yeah. Karen, Francine, both are in shock, as am I. Yes, Kevin, she's not answering the question. She's trying to avoid the question because, she has been now trained to speak the lines that have been fed to her, which is men can have babies. Why this is such a big deal here is beyond me. Yes, Lucille, the answer is no. Kevin says, why are not enough doctors not speaking up about this nonsense? Well, because they're afraid that they will be, their medical license will be taken from them. That's what was happening in COVID. Doctors who said, COVID started in, COVID was anything but what the CDC told them to say, they got banned, they got barred. And if they were researchers, they lost their funding. It was a really, really a horrible thing. And it's still going on. I mean, here they're still peddling the shot. I just saw commercials for it the other day about, COVID coming back and, you need the shot and did you get your booster? And it's laughable now that we know how many people have died from the shot. If you were at risk, I would say you do whatever you can if you're at risk to save yourself. But mandating that perfectly healthy people or people who already had the COVID antibody in their system, like I did, mandating that we get shots, absolutely not. And listen, I started cooking again and we stopped going out to eat. As a matter of fact, I saved a bundle of money, not ordering out, not going out. And now we still save a bundle of money because my husband realized that my cooking is better than the restaurants. And so we eat home most nights with my mom. And it's much healthier. So yeah, these lunatics, they tried to steal your life if you didn't have a COVID card, if you didn't show your ID. And oh, by the way, that's when I said that cringe statement that got me in all the newspapers across America because they were acting like we were in the 1940s Germany, and I stated so, and all of a sudden I was canceled. Let's see. He's going to get his due. Yeah. How's mom? Mom is doing much better. We just came from dinner. My sister's in town and her husband and kids. And so everybody was here and we just came from dinner out. So that was really good. Okay. Save America Act. Listen to Melissa. Why can't I? I wish I would save the things with the name. Anyway, you know who she is. Talking about Save America Act.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was literally allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election. And disenfranchise all married women in the meantime, by the way. It just you have to show your birth certificate at the polls if you have a married name.
All right, so she admits that if we pass the SAVE Act, no Democrat would be elected again, or make it harder for Democrats to be elected. Why? Why would showing voter ID make it harder? Or why would showing your ID to vote make it harder for Democrats to be elected? She doesn't say why. She just says it'll make it harder. Oh, because women will have to show their birth certificates. So why is that hard? You need your birth certificate for a lot of things, namely a passport. You don't need to have necessarily a birth certificate to show that your married name. There's other ways of doing it, but they're out there frightening people against the SAVE Act, even though that more than 90% of people want the SAVE Act passed. Slotkin, thank you very much. Oh my God. I'm really losing my mind. Yeah, because they can't cheat. That's absolutely right, Antoinette, because they can't cheat. Because they can't have illegals vote in the elections. They can't have people who are not supposed to be voting. They can't have dead people vote. And I would be mortified if I belonged to a party who was known for having dead people vote in elections. Absolutely mortified. But they have no shame. No shame at all. If Dune doesn't pass it, then Vance can vote to make 51. Yeah, but what the problem is that there's, and this I'm going to put in the president's lap. Fetterman would have voted for it if the president didn't pile on a whole bunch of bullshit in the SAVE Act. So, and it's too late now for midterms. You can't do it. The primaries are already gone. So, that's on Trump. That's on Trump, that one. It's also on Thune, but it's on Trump. Okay. Listen to this. This is Tillis. Now this one is.
Senator, you've received almost $700,000 from the illegal labor lobby. Is that why you voted against the Save America Act?
Can you tell me who the illegal labor lobby is?
Yes, it's contractors, general contractors, hospitality companies, industries, construction companies and industries.
What do you know about the which Save America Act are you talking about?
The one that you voted against, sir.
Okay. And so you're asking me if I voted, I was against it because
you're receiving almost $700,000 from these lobbyists.
Do you have any idea what a remarkably silly question that is?
I think it's a pretty important one. I think your constituents want to know why you're betraying them.
Some math. You know what my election cycle, the total all-in election cycle cost was in 2020? It's $300 million. Do you honestly believe that I would make a policy decision based on that?
I don't know why you're betraying your constituents.
Who do you work for?
I'm independent.
Okay.
Why are you betraying your constituents? Why are you betraying your constituents, Senator?
Good luck on the clicks.
We just want secure elections, Senator. You're preventing us from getting that. You're betraying America.
Good luck on your job.
Good luck on yours. What a strange thing for Senator Tillis to say. $700,000 is not enough. He's a sellout, but not that amount, because he receives $300 million. If I were an honest person and I were answering that question, I would just say, I'm not a sellout to anyone. I don't sell out for any amount of money. But Thom Tillis says he sells out, but not for that amount.
I mean, that's how I heard it. For that amount, what is $600,000 is a drop in the bucket in my $300 million campaign. $300 million campaign cycle. So you think I'm going to sell out for just a mere $600,000? These people listen to themselves? I mean, come on, nutty stuff. These are the people that represent us. They represent us. But do they really? Watch this. This is not a cringe moment. This is a shame on you moment for all the Democrats. Worse than turning their back on the SAVE Act. Watch.
About it right now. For one, you've got some testimony from the person I kind of call as a fraud-busting hero. Nick Shirley is there. And you've got political activist James O'Keefe there. And a lot of Republicans in the room. And I think we have a shot of the empty seats all the way to the right. Yeah, right screen, and then off to the right of that, empty seats where Democrats would be sitting. I mean, how does this play out? Dems don't care about defrauding the American people?
They don't want to know the truth about this. You look at what happened in Minnesota with Tim Walz. You look what's happened in California. You look at these areas that have just basically turned a blind eye and have let people move forward with fraud.
So the Democrats are not showing up for fraud hearings, to hear from undercover independent reporters who have uncovered massive fraud in the taxpayer payment system. How could they not be interested in that? When we work until almost June now to pay our tax bills, Americans, even with Donald Trump's no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and all that other stuff, how could they not care to find out about the fraud in taxpayer waste and fraud in our country? How could they not show up? Well, because they're connected. And just like this billionaire, this Facebook billionaire, his name is Dustin Moskowitz. $480 million he gave to make bacon, eggs, and veal and all that more expensive so that his Impossible burgers and his Impossible meat would sell more. And he gave it through not-for-profits. It was a vicious circle, and it just very easy to follow. Very easy to follow. Dustin Moskowitz. And his donations all to Democrats, all of them, every single one. But they don't want to know about fraud. Why? Why is it that Republicans are constantly talking about reducing taxes, and why is it that Democrats don't want to hear about fraud? It's mind-boggling. That's contempt of court or contempt of Congress. That they don't show up. Yeah, good, Kevin. And in that same day, AOC was ranting about Mitch McConnell not coming to work. She didn't say shit when Fetterman didn't come because he checked himself into a rehab. I'm sorry, for a mental breakdown, not a drug rehab, a physical rehab. And then there was another Democratic congressman who's been out for like 7 months. She didn't say anything about that, but she was going crazy about Mitch McConnell when the Democrats aren't even going to the hearings. And we saw that they didn't go to the hearings too for the angel parents, right? They were coming in and out. What was her name? Japal. I feel for you, but I'm tired of these hearings. What? Illegal migrants killed the children of these men and women, and you're tired of hearing about it? Please, I can't even. All right, before we go too long, I want you all. I want you to hear this. Mamdani on why rape is up in New York. This is not going to age well.
And what I think is important to know is a lot of the increase in rape also comes from an expanded definition of what counts as rape, as well as survivors coming forward for acts that took place years prior.
I would like to see that data. Show me the data of how people came forward from years ago instead of what happened recently. Bullshit. Rape is up because there are illegal migrants from all over the world in our country who do not treat women equally. In their country, women are playthings. And, rape is an act of violence, not an act of sex. But it's when you want to, you got to feel macho. And so they take it out on a woman. That's the party, right, that want to take care of women, but they don't know what a woman is, right? So let's see, we have some comments here. Karen says Maxine Waters, move over, Leticia, I'm moving in. Antoinette. Kevin, what an asshole, Mom Donnie. Yeah, he is. Where's his wife? Yeah, Lucille, I don't know where his wife is. All of a sudden, oh no, wrong. She was in Spain at a women's conference. And oh, by the way, Candace Owens was there too. So interesting. But that's a different show. I'm not going to get involved there. He is scary. He is scary. They are using him as the face, for socialism. He's a puppet like Obama was a puppet. Just is what it is. Okay. Back in the day when men were men and women were women, there was a man named Clarence Thomas who was being appointed to the Supreme Court, and the Democrats were doing everything they could to stop it because he was a black Republican. They tried to paint him as being a sexual predator. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing how many people the Democrats tried to paint as a sexual predator? Kavanaugh, Clarence Thomas, Donald Trump. But meanwhile, they have the sexual predators in their party. Bill Clinton, Eric Swalwell. I can go on. For real. But anyway, I want you to listen to this line of questioning and what Clarence Thomas has to say about the death threats that he was receiving during his nomination process. Listen to this.
Some people have been spreading the rumor that perhaps you're going to withdraw. What's Clarence Thomas going to do?
I'd rather die than withdraw. If they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me.
So you'd still like to serve on the Supreme Court?
I'd rather die than withdraw from the process. Not for the purpose of serving on the Supreme Court, but for the purpose of not being driven out of this process. I would not be scared. I don't like bullies. I've never run from bullies. I never cry uncle, and I'm not going to cry uncle today, whether I want to be on the Supreme Court or not.
He is an excellent pick for the Supreme Court. Yeah, Antoinette, I got the chills too. What a man is right. And you remember, Antoinette, I know, we sat through that, we lived through that, what they did to him with the hair, the pubic hair on the can of Coke. And I mean, it was horrible what they did to him. Horrible. And I don't ever remember a Democrat facing that kind of problem from Republicans. Not once, not even Ketanji Brown Jackson, who couldn't define a woman. Yes, we did live through it. Look at the face of the Democrats. Yeah, Kevin, they were shocked, right? Biden was shocked. Now there was a real man. Now I want you to listen. Another Republican, unfortunately. Yeah, like they want to kill him. They wanted him to withdraw. Colleen Mahoney, I was just going to text you to see how you're feeling. I'm sorry. Things have been crazy around here, so I haven't had a chance to pick up the phone. I hope that you're feeling well. Yeah, so they wanted him out. They did not want him in. But here's another Republican who testified about death threats and stuff yesterday at a congressional hearing. Unfortunately, there was a lot of whining going on. Watch.
Thought I would just share a little bit about how the threats have affected me and my family personally. They have required me my children to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on a table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why I had it, and I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one.
Well, I understand what she's saying, but you decided to become a justice to accept the nomination. She actually sought it to become a justice of the Supreme Court during a crazy time in the world. I'm sorry, and she should never have to worry for her life. Nobody ever should, because they're serving the people. But instead of being defiant, I felt like she was whining, and I don't care for that. And this is what concerns me. Women, not all women have the balls to do what has to be done. And my great concern is how many times did Amy Coney Barrett support a decision because she was afraid of a death threat to her life. Are these death threats influencing the way she interprets the Constitution? I mean, birthright citizenship, that one there, especially, that one, I mean, she's taken a lot of votes that I just didn't understand. But birthright citizenship, I mean, we've gone over it here, the jurisdiction that they are subjected to. If you're not living in this country, then you're not subject to our jurisdiction. So how can you have citizenship automatically? I'll go back to that and go back to that and go back to that. Did she take that vote because she was afraid for her life? I think that her testimony yesterday did her a disservice, because I'm not saying that Republicans ought to stick together. I'm not, because I believe that the interpretation of the Constitution has to be the interpretation of the Constitution. But the Democrats do not interpret the Constitution on a regular. Sometimes, yes, but I have seen Ketanji Brown Jackson go off on a tear, and the same with what's her name from the Bronx, and this one here goes right along with them. So, could it be that she's afraid for her life or her family's life? Is it influencing her decisions? That concerns me. It really does concern me. Something for all of us to think about. It really is. Let's see where we are. Those vests are heavy. Yeah, they sure are. I'm so glad that everything is good, Colleen. I'll give you a call in a little bit. Okay, so that's our show. A lot of cringe stuff. A lot of stuff to think about. I really wish Amy Coney Barrett would withdraw and resign from the Supreme Court, because it feels to me that she is being influenced by her concern for the life of her family. And we know that there's a conspiracy going on. And we know that China is involved in this whole socialist movement, the same way Russia was involved in the 70s when this communism movement was going on. We have problems in this country. We keep getting influenced by other countries because we allow other countries in. And that's what we were founded on, right? But the founding fathers stated clearly, you need to be very careful about who you bring into this country. And you have, because everybody who is a citizen now has the same rights as everybody else. So rather than treating those warnings as serious in nature, we're treating it as a bunch of old men, who didn't know any better. Like all of a sudden, the young kids in America know better than the young men and women that founded our country, this perfect nation. Okay, let's see. Is it true Fetterman is switching from Democrat to conservative? I don't think so, but I don't know, Angela. I can't imagine that. Well, the Democrats want him out, but he's not up for election anytime soon. He can caucus. He can, his people don't want him. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. Trump's speech tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Yeah, maybe we'll watch it together. I mean, if you guys want to, we can go long. Maybe I'll start the show a little later. I don't know. You put it in the comments. Tell me what you want to do. Hi, Gary. Who's anal? I'm not sure. 2028 Fetterman's up, yeah. Okay, so tomorrow we've got Trump's speech. We've got other things to talk about. Thank you so very much for being with me tonight. thank you so much for being with me all the time. If you're new to the channel, please, please, please like and subscribe. Especially on YouTube, we're just about 115 away from that 1,000 mark. And, I'm always worried because I get up close, really to the number, and then YouTube starts taking away subscriptions, and they've slowed my algorithm down. So try and help me out so that we have more conservative voices. I don't get paid for this. I don't want to be paid for this. I know a lot of influencers, do things for clicks and likes. That's not why I do it. I do it because we need to keep more conservative voices on air, and we need to discuss this stuff together. And I need to hear from you. And we just have to keep chatting, because if we don't keep chatting, then the only voices that we're going to hear are those liberal, I'm not going to say Democrat, those liberal left lunatic socialist voices, which are taking over the YouTube. So yeah, let's do this together. Thank you, Antoinette. You rest well as well. Everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your evening. Love you. Kyle, I'll call you later.